it behooves us to talk about this. Leah Gazan or Leah Gazan, I don't know how you say her name, and I just don't care. Leah Gazan, she's an NDP MP, and she is moving a bill to criminalize residential school denialism. It's a private member's bill, and I put a clip in there of her making the announcement, and I don't think she's well, honestly. And I know you're like, Sheila, she's in the NDP. How could you tell? Just listen to this.
Today I will be reintroducing my bill to recognize residential school denialism as a form of inciting hate. You know, it's been over a decade since the release of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission in Canada. And since that time, we have seen, since the discovery of unmarked graves, an increase in denialism about what occurred in the residential schools. This is horrific. Particularly because all members of Parliament unanimously supported my motion in 2022 to recognize what happened in residential schools as an act of genocide, the first genocide that was recognized within Canadian borders. At a time where we are looking at, once again, building a nation on the backs of Indigenous peoples around our lands, territories, and resources in the name of national interest, in violation of constitutionally enshrined Indigenous rights. If this government is serious about reconciling with Indigenous people, it must ensure the protection of survivors. It was the stories of survivors and our families that put us on a path towards reconciliation. So I'm calling on the government to do the right thing, to take on this bill, to support this bill, and truly honor the gift that residential school survivors provided to Canada. Thank you.
You go first, and then I'm just going to unleash on this liar.
But so Sheila, if I say right now a truism, which is, for example, Kamloops, that not a single body has been found.
Not a bone, not a tooth.
Well,
not
I just
a
said it
bone.
on air. Someone's recording this, I presume. If this bill passes, and it won't, I guess I'm going to be criminally charged, right?
That's what she would like to do.
Unbelievable.
You cannot question claims, even if the claims are made without any evidence whatsoever. That's what she would like to say. That's what she would like to have. Now, my friend Michelle Sterling, you may know her from Friends of Science, but she has unrelated work that she does. And we know her from her work with Friends of Science as an impeccable researcher and someone who cares deeply about the truth, even if it goes counter to the accepted narratives. And so she has done a lot of research on residential schools because although she is not Catholic herself, she takes great umbrage with the fact that young Catholic men and women who worked in these schools are now being accused of genocide without evidence. And so this is the second time that Leah Gazan introduced this bill. And I noticed that she has tempered some of her language, but she did say something that Michelle points out is a lie. She says residential school survivors and our families. Well, as Michelle points out, and she's an impeccable researcher on these things, there's no association between Leah Gazan, her family, and residential schools. So she says, in an interview with CTV, she said, this is a private member's bill that's deeply personal for you, the interviewer said, and she said, well, certainly, my family has been impacted by residential schools. Is that true? No. On her father's side, Leah Gazan is Jewish, Polish, and Dutch. Her father, Abraham, his parents and sisters found refuge in Canada after the Holocaust, a real genocide. And on her mother's side, she's Chinese and Lakota. Her mother is Marjorie LeCain. She's the daughter of Adeline LeCain and a Chinese father whose name is apparently unknown. There is obviously no residential school impact on her family. On her maternal grandfather's side, that leaves her maternal grandmother, Adeline LeCain, who is the daughter of John LeCain, who is in turn the son of a Lakota woman, who is known as Emma Loves War. Was there a residential impact on Leah Gazan's maternal grandmother, Adeline's side? Let's see what the historical records say. And anyways, they were Lakota, get this, Lakota Sioux who sought refuge in Canada. We took them in after the massacre at Little Bighorn. And this is down the road. This is how terrible we were to her.
Unbelievable.
Quite something.
Well, Sheila, the good news, like I said, private members' bills very, very seldom get passed. And I don't see any hope for this one. Although, then again, given the woke political correctness nature of it, this might be the statistical anomaly. We'll see.